Jambo, habari gani? Welcome back to the Congo Report podcast. I am Muyumba Kalubi. I am the creator, innovator, genius behind this platform. So happy to see and hear from you guys again. Welcome again to the Congo Report podcast. I hope all is well with you all. Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you honest? Are you being honest? Are you hungry, girl? Are you hungry? Huh? Unajala? Unajala, mama. Anyway, it has been a long time since I have been on this microphone. Um, Man, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on this microphone talking to you guys. I wanted to come on here and really get this podcast going again. It's been something that I didn't think that I would be doing again, but times have changed so much since the quarantine. A lot of reflecting, a lot of things in the world have been going on. And I think that it is more than time for us to have this dialogue about the diaspora, the uh, the greater African community, and just the community at large that is being oppressed. I don't know if you guys know. Well, I know you guys don't know. That's why I'm on this comeback episode. I'm here talking to you guys to catch up. This is a catch up episode. This is also the comeback episode. And I wanted to be transparent about where I have been, what has been going on, why have I been MIA, and give you guys a little bit more insight on why the podcast hadn't been releasing episode in so long. Uh, there's probably a lot of questions that you guys are wanting answered. You guys also may notice that it look a little bit different. Not, I haven't had any plastic surgery, but I have gone through a physical transformation. I guess you could say a healthy physical transformation, and all of those questions are going to be answered very, very soon. Okay, so things. Where should I start? Should we start with me personally? Well, let's start with why the podcast stopped. I think that's a great starting point. Um, I wanted to be completely transparent with everybody, all of my listeners. I know it's a small group, but a passionate group. Um, and I wanted to talk about at length what has been going on. And the pandemic really did change a lot of things that were going on in the world and how everybody has been thinking, perspective, and things of that nature. I am someone who is extremely private. Um, I don't like talking about my life in that way. I don't like being I don't like talking about my life or things that are going on. I'm extremely private, introverted person, but I'm also a very passionate person, and I realize that there is a bit of a responsibility to be when you have a platform and you have an audience that is enjoying your content to to give them a little bit, maybe not a lot, but give enough that I'm comfortable with to give perspective and a more holistic view of what's going on. So, to cut to the chase, the pandemic was very difficult for everyone. Um, I think the last episode that I did was very, very difficult for me. I was very, very sick. I mean, that whole season three, there's only 4 episodes out. And if you are someone who's a visual watcher, you can still go and watch those episodes on YouTube. Or if you're a listener, an auditory kind of listener, you can listen to those on, wherever you get your podcasts. But it was very difficult for me. I was very sick. I know I did not have coronavirus. I never actually I was one of those people I never got coronavirus, but that's another story. I I had something else, and at the time I didn't understand what my illness was. And so I was getting scared because I'm just like, I've never really been sick before like this. And all the while I'm getting sicker and I'm trying to push through. I was pushing through, trying to get those episodes out, and everything started coming to a head. I was just extremely fatigued. I do everything by myself for this podcast. I um, do the recording, obviously. I write down the topics that are going to be discussed on the platform. I do all of the editing, video editing, audio editing, and so I'm doing all of this by myself. It is a one man show over here. That became incredibly difficult, compounded with this illness that was not getting better. I was seeing doctors; they were, telling me things, but the solutions that they were suggesting weren't really working. So I was going on like this self discovery of what's wrong with me, and I actually never got a consensus or a definitive answer on what if I had a diagnosis or not. They assumed that I may have had acid reflux, uh, but that was never confirmed or denied. I It's another topic that we can get into maybe in some other time about the medical system in the United States and how they treat um, African Americans, or as in particular African American women, because I just had a lot of doctors that were just not really interested in listening keenly on what was wrong with me. They were just trying to get me out of the office as fast as possible. There was just a very cavalier feeling when I went into the office to talk with these doctors about what has been going on with me, and it didn't seem as though there was a type of care or oh, I'm out of focus. No, there we go. It just didn't seem as though there was enough care or consideration for the kind of fear that I had about what was going on. So as far as I knew, when you think about acid reflux or gastritis or esophagitis or something like that, It stems from the gut. So, as far as I know, I had some gastrointestinal issues. To what extent, we'll never know. But what matters is that I got, the, long story short, a traditional medical doctor, Western medical doctor, didn't help me. That's the point that I'm getting to. I went the holistic route because I was just like, all these things that I've been trying have not been working. And it is so frustrating. You know, I'm consulting with these, alternative, you called it alternative medicine. I'm consulting with these doctors, and I see actually improvement. And then I'm also learning about, some of these things that they're saying that I'm experiencing, the regular doctor at the doctor's office is not telling me these things. And then started opening my mind because my whole life, I have doctors in my family, and I do think that there are some great modern medicinal doctors out there. That being said, what worked for me was a more traditional holistic route, and uh, I became I had to spend a little bit of a coin, but it what the experience that I got was priceless. It was by a woman. This is not a free plug or anything or promotion. It really was a woman named Ginger DeClute. She has a healing program who that helps people really target their issues, or if they have a certain issue. I've seen people get better with diabetes, people with MS get better. In my cohort, in my class, there was probably maybe over 30, 40 women and men combined. And we saw results. And it's not just the physical change, it's the mental and the spiritual change. So, in a way, I was physically sick, but what I gained was, looking back at it in hindsight, I probably did go through some sort of physical metamorphosis, physical, uh, physical, mental, spiritual metamorphosis. I read somewhere, in some Asian cultures, usually you get very, very sick when you are about to go through some sort of metamorphosis in your life. You're transitioning into a different realm of consciousness, or a different stage of understanding or overstanding. And I believe that's what was happening with me. Mm, that being said, it I don't want to go into detail of how sick I got, but I was very sick. So that's mainly why in a nutshell, that is mainly why the podcast was on hiatus. I was sick, and I was trying to go to trying to push through, and I just became too fatigued to continue the podcast at that time. Now, what have now fast forward to 2020, 2024, because all this happened in maybe 2021, 2020. Well, I'll say the end of 2021 and all through 2022. Just an immense appreciation for my life, an immense appreciation for life in general. And that's what, I really, I think is the takeaway, just an appreciation for life, your body, making sure you really do take care of your body. You get one vessel, you get one shell of a body, and you have to take as good as of care as you can. And so now I'm a very healthy person. I do value my health, detoxing and fasting and things like that, and just minding what I eat. I don't, stuff my face like I used to. And that's the other part I wanted to mention. As some of you who have seen me before, who have seen me in person, you may notice that I look a lot slimmer. And that's because when I was sick, I lost weight. And then when I started healing myself, I lost even more weight. And that was a really, really telling sign, like, wow, like I really was just not taking good care of myself. And I also wasn't in the mental state to take good care of myself because I wasn't thinking good things. Mentally, I wasn't there. Now, fast forward to, I'll say, 2023, 2024. Um, what can I say? 2023 was an interesting year. I started acting. I became an actress and I started doing plays, local plays. I've done a total of 3 plays so far. Woohoo. And one was called Stepping Out. It's originally a British play about these left footed tap dancers, to say the least. And it's sort of this episodic play about them during dance rehearsal trying to get a routine together for this charity event. The second one was such a wonderful experience. It was a play where I played the lead in a reading, and it was called Simone with a Y. And I played Simone with a Y, and it's about this uberly depressed woman who could not reconcile the fact that she was barren and she could not have kids, and she also was struggling mentally with things that are happening in her childhood, and then on top of the fact she can't have kids with her husband and things like this. So yeah, that it was actually very heavy. I mean, I was so emotional. I was so emotional. Um, the third one was a play called Ain't Misbehaving, and it was if you're familiar with the Broadway play of the same title from the 1970s, and it's a Tony Award winning play. We did that here in Cincinnati, and um, we were pretty much sold out almost every night at our theater there, and it was great. I think my family, all of my family came out one night. It was yeah, actually a lot of them came, and some of them came on different days. Um, I'm trying to think. Sorry for the dead space. I'm trying to think. Did I do something after this? I went on some auditions, but I'm starting to get very picky with my choices because I mean I just feel that you know I have to really feel what I'm doing, and it's it's important to really feel the character. So I've been looking for more things to do auditions for acting wise, but nothing as of yet has sparked my interest. But I am waiting for that moment to have my imagination and my creativity sparked to really sink my teeth into and really get over the stage fright or the nervousness that I feel when I would go for auditions. Because I think it's safe to say that most of the actors, even a lot of actors in Hollywood, have stated that they don't like to audition. So there's that. So I've become an actress. I've always sang. A lot of people don't know this. I always sang. So I've been I tried to do the whole like get a professional producer to produce tracks, but I wasn't really happy with the result of the songs. And we tried to put on a showcase, and to me, I just felt like I just spent too much money, and it didn't come together in the way that I wanted. Um, so I went on this new embarking. I said, well, I'm gonna find some music on my own, and I'm going to arrange the songs myself, write the songs myself. I always wrote songs, by the way, but I'm gonna write the music. I'm gonna arrange the harmonies and the main vocals and things like this myself, and try and find ways to get it mastered and mixed on my own. If I have to learn how to do it myself, I can do that. I have a good brain. I consider myself to be relatively intelligent, and so I'm just going to do it myself. So that's what I did, and that's what I'm doing. So I'm in the middle of recording new music, and it's really exciting because I really like the tracks that I've chosen for this new project. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's new. All right. Next, and I also got into modeling. So, which is crazy to me because I was never, I think I'm still like a tomboy at heart, but growing, but I always had an admiration for beauty. Modeling, like America's Next Top Model, was one of my favorite TV shows of the early to mid 2000s until its end in like 2018, I think. So I always loved, could appreciate the art form of modeling and fashion. My sister went to design school, so there was always this aura of that industry around me indirectly. So I went to a showcase in Chicago while I was rehearsing for one of the plays that I had mentioned earlier, Ain't Misbehavin'. And I went to Chicago for singing and acting. And I went with this group with like a mother agency. And everyone saw my headshot from the group, and they all said, you need to try modeling. We don't know what, you need to model. I was just like, really? And they're like, yes, you need to model. You're very beautiful. I'm like, okay. So I was scrolling one day after the fact we got back from Chicago. I kept it in my mind, but I wasn't like thinking. And then all of a sudden, one of these days, I just saw a ad for a model audition casting here. And so I was like, really? Model call? Okay. And it was for a fashion show for their fall season for Cincinnati Style magazine. Never heard of it, didn't know it. So I said, well, why don't I go out and try? So I tried and I got booked for the fashion show. I didn't get paid, but I got booked. I was just like, okay, so maybe there's something to this. And it was an amazing experience. And I'm so glad that I got booked on my first try because it really did give me some sort of confidence to continue and to pursue that there was something to it. And so I've continued on that pursuit and I've, since then, I've done two other fashion shows and now I will be published in a magazine. And that, I don't know when that's coming out, but it's coming out, and I think in the autumn season. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for my music, and maybe you'll see me in Hollywood. Oh, and another thing. So, so the friends that I met at this showcase in Chicago, they also, we continued to talk and talk and talk. And two of my friends were former pageant queens. And they said, you, of all people, on paper, you would do really, really well in a beauty pageant. You have all the credentials, you have a whole package, everything. I said, okay, well, what should I do? And they said, you should try out for Miss USA. I'm like, okay, Miss USA. Was, so I signed up not thinking that, because there was a chance that I don't think that they were going to have a pageant, because they didn't, when I first filled out the paperwork, they didn't even have the location, the event date, none of that on their site. It was just basically like you put in an inquiry. So at least that's what it seemed to me. I had to fill out this whole thing. I filled it out, and then I guess they looked at my form and they selected me to be a competitor. So I am your current Miss Queen City USA 2024. And I did not win, as Miss USA pageant just happened about last week, actually. Someone else won Miss Ohio USA. But I do still have my sash, because even though I was devastated when I lost, I'm still very proud that I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to do this. And I have my competition sash, maybe backwards, Queen City, that's what I was called. And then I have my official sash. Ooh, it's upside down. Yeah, I have that. So I'm very proud that I did it, and I do think that the pageantry bug has caught me, and you may see me as a pageant winner one day. Mark my words, I will be a pageant winner. That being said, oh, come to now. So you're probably wondering, it now that I'm back with this podcast, is the podcast going to be the same? Are you going to continue to have guests? Is the format going to be the same? So to make a long story short, yes, the platform or the format of the podcast is going to change slightly. We I say we as if there's multiple people here. It's just me. I am not going to have a guest on every show. For me, having done it for 3 seasons of having to coordinate with people, that was the other thing that was really tiring and really weighing on me, was having to coordinate with people to get the show, to be on time for the show and things like this. And it was really a hassle to coordinate people to be on time. To I mean, people would just like reschedule last second, things like this. And then I tried to like give a contract out so that people, maybe they would see that I was serious, like, hey, you need to be on time and things like this. And then people would still not honor the contract and the time that, they were supposed to be doing. Not all, but some. So it just became too much for me to deal with. And so that is the reason why we are, I say we again, it's just me. I am not going to have guests on every episode. If there is an episode that I feel is going to need the assistance from another person who may be a little bit more informed on what needs to be talked about, I will definitely have that person. There are a few people that I want to reach out to see if they can come on the show and have that dialogue with me. As you know, things have become a lot more severe in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I think that it requires a lot of severity. And I think now, because more people are hearing about or listening to this name, Congo, that part of the things that I want to change about the format is, we're not going to have games anymore. I know I used to play games with the guests, but obviously we're not going to be having that many guests anymore anyway. So we wouldn't be having games anyway. But what I do want to create sort of a, how you say, I want to create more of a deeper look into the real nuances and intricacies of our culture, because I realized in a lot of the conversations over the last 3 seasons of this program that we don't there are a lot of Congolese people that, even in Congo, who don't really know much about their own country. So it is I want to take it upon myself to teach and to extend that knowledge and really make this podcast a platform as a platform for advocacy, for change, to liberate the people, to liberate the information as much as possible, and to give a more empathetic perspective. It's something that it's been a dream of mine to see Congolese people in particular be uprooted and uplifted from these just atrocious circumstances. And I think in this time of strife and oppression, also give a little bit of light to the other, places around the world that are also suffering. Um, yeah, I think it really is really, really living in strange times. So many countries are trying to fight for their their liberty and their freedom and their justice. And I think that it's something that the people who are Gen Zers, I'm a millennial, can really appreciate and take into account of their pursuit for liberation and to speak up for the voiceless. And I think that's what I intend to do with this platform as well. That being said, yes, the format of this podcast is changing. You'll see, maybe I'll do an inside look on different tribes to inform people about the different tribes and to just showcase the different nuances and idiosyncrasies of the beauty of the country and the diversity within the country. I mean, we're one of the most linguistically diverse nations on the planet. And you don't really hear a lot of Congolese people talking about that. And I personally love languages in general. So I want to just highlight the nuances. I will be doing as much research as I can on these cultures, on these subcultures and these subunits within the Congolese continent to try and bring some holistic integrity to what is going on the podcast, or to what's going on in the country and in the world to the podcast. And I hope that you all are down for the ride as well and be patient and really also doing exposés on certain companies that are really complicit and nations at large that are involved in the chaos. And it's kind of like the poke the bear and then throw away the stick kind of situation. I really want to be sort of an advocate for liberation, for change, and I want this podcast to be a vehicle for that. And I think it's really important that we start getting serious about it too. We start informing ourselves, as uncomfortable as it may be for some people, because I know some Congolese people from the diaspora, they came from very hostile environments back home, and it's bad memory for them. But we're living in serious times, so we got to get serious. Young, old, middle aged, we all got to get on the same page about what we need to be doing. And so, with that, I would like to. So no, there's no more leopard slayer. Might I add, there's no more leopard slayer. Also, I want to incorporate more lives. So you may see me on, if you follow the Congo Report podcast, you may see me on the Instagram page for the Congo Report podcast, on Instagram Live, and also on YouTube Live, and to stream basically. And that's what I really want to get more in touch with the people who are subscribing with my platform. I think it's really important to really get that direct feedback. So that's also another thing that has changed about the format of this podcast is, trying to get our engagement up, because when I started posting the videos for season 3, I didn't have any engagement, no comments, no likes, no, basically nothing. So for me, it's going to be really, really imperative to have all of my listeners, viewers, well wishers engaged, and so that I can get that feedback, so that I can just understand what you guys want to hear, what you guys are interested in, what you guys didn't know. Just get your thoughts. Other than that, I think we're done. I think we're done. I want to thank you guys again for just listening to me ramble. I will see you all next week. I may do a live, I may not. I'll see when that will be. I thank you again for having your interest. If you're still with me, still be with me. If you're new, welcome. I've been on hiatus. Welcome me back because I've been on hiatus too. Okay. And I hope that you also keep up with my other endeavors. Hopefully you see me in something. Hopefully you see me somewhere. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys. This is the Congo Report podcast. See you next time.